rolling. We're in a new position. Everything is weird and new and fresh.
Fiddlesticks. Are you okay?
Why?
You look
Do I not look super casual?
No. Not at all.
Tamara and I switched positions. I feel like I sound
Sexually.
weird. I'm on top today.
I feel like I sound weird too. We're using a different computer. We're sitting in different spots. It's a Thursday.
And Tamara's gassy. So that's fun.
That's why she put me all the way over here.
I'm trying to relax on this couch, but I just can't seem to relax.
You look like you've never relaxed a day in your life.
Have you met me?
I'm Tamara.
I'm Ariel.
And this is Fearful Friends Podcast. Why are you Ariel today and not Rell?
Because I couldn't remember what name I said. What name do I usually say?
You say Rell.
Well, I'm Rell.
Boo, 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 boo.
Glad we got here.
You know what I love? When people are laughing. Like, okay, most people find this very irritating.
When their eyes water so much
No.
when they laugh, because I'm there.
No, you're beautiful.
Oh.
When someone's trying to tell you something funny and they're just laughing so hard and they can't get the words out, it's so pure and funny to me. It's like such joy.
It's adorable.
I love hearing that from anybody. Like anytime I hear it on a podcast or someone's trying to tell me something, it's just
I get so
It's like my
flustered because I'm
favorite
like,
thing.
people are impatient. Get it out. Tell them the story. When was the last time that happened to you?
I just not recently.
Did you watch it on a show?
No, it was definitely a podcast.
That would be a very annoying podcast. I'd be like, what are you trying to say?
See, yeah, most people find it irritating, but I just love it. It's so like, it's just like joy. It's like just radiating joy.
It is adorable. You know what else is joyful?
Mowing your grass?
No, not that. Are you saying that because my grass is really long? I was going to mow it this week. I didn't do it last week because we were out of town. So it's been like 2 weeks.
I'm only saying that because my grass is really, really bad. My dog will not go outside.
Yeah. Your dog is twice as tall as my dogs
Maybe
are. And
like
my dogs
8
are like,
times.
Mom, where are you?
Lost in the forest.
Literally, like, before you came over, like, man, I took the dogs out back to go pee, and he's just like, where the hell's Murphy? And I'm just, like, looking around for him, panicking. He's just fucking walking around, but, like, you can't see him because the grass is 1.5 feet tall.
He's just exploring. No, I had to text
they
my
won't
landlord and be like, hey, I'm not trying to rush you or anything. I just want to make sure you're not getting charged because they're not coming.
And did he respond?
Yeah, he said something that was barely English.
Oh.
Because
Well,
like
That's a good landlord.
landlords are like, have you ever met like a normal landlord?
I feel like my last landlord. No, not my last one. He was a bit weird. But the one before that was pretty okay. She was fine. Well, she wasn't actually my landlord. She was the property manager because my other landlord was like MIA in New York.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
But the property manager was great, and she was the one I always dealt with.
Like, I'm pretty sure every landlord I've ever had was actually an alien. Like, you're not a real human. I don't... like...
Walker A. Uske or whatever.
Yeah. Ackerway. Inske Ackerway.
I like mine better.
Yeah, hopefully my grass gets cut.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, like, I don't know. With the rain today, it's definitely going to shoot up another 10 feet. So better get on it. I just think we should like stop fucking around with the mower at this point and just go right in with the weed whacker. Just like in the middle of the lawn. Just like chop it all down.
That's what they used to do
It's
in
a
my
forest.
in my other backyard because they couldn't get their big giant mower in through my gate. So they would just do the whole yard with a weed whacker.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's and it's always like damp. You could never get a mower through it. It clogs up my mower. I hate being an adult. It gives me the agita.
The agita. You could do what my neighbor does and go out with one of those like non-electric old school rolly ones.
You know, the funny thing is they're not that expensive, and I was actually looking into them, and I think if you like keep up with like blade sharpening, it's actually a pretty good tool. And it never gets, you don't have to clean it, I think. I don't know. And
I'm
you
sure
never
you
have
could
to
just
charge
clean it with like a hose.
Yeah. Is that too bright?
No.
I put on some sexy lighting, but it might be too much.
I'm into it.
Hurts my eyes a little bit. Is it too bright?
No. My stomach's rebelling.
Do you have to, is it making you have to poop?
The lighting?
Yes.
No. You're not that powerful.
I don't know. You know, they say some ASMR can, you know, really set that off. I just don't know what I'm feeling right now. Do I want red or purple?
I like
or
this purpley, lilac-y,
right.
purple pink.
Let's call it lavalac.
Okay. Lava lac.
I don't like it.
Okay.
Never mind.
Anyway.
Do we need to take a break for you to poop?
No, I don't have to poop.
Oh, good.
My stomach just,
And she won't take digestive enzymes.
No.
But she'll drink ox bile.
I don't drink it. I take it as a digestive enzyme.
Is it like a pill?
Yeah.
Oh, why was I picturing you just like taking a shot of like ox bile? Like you get it shipped to you. It's in a refrigerated box from some weird company from Romania. And you just like pour it. It's still got little flakes of hair in it.
Why were you picturing that? Because you just really have a really good imagination.
I have been doing a lot of reading lately, and it's really, it's just opening up my mind.
You're just a little unhinged, but that's fine.
Almost always.
Yeah.
Almost exclusively. Oh, sorry.
Oh. So what happened at work? Did you get in any fights? Did you fight any old people?
Did I fight any old people? I mean, honestly, ever since I started doing receiving, I don't have to interact with customers very much, which is really good for my mental health. Although today, when I was off the clock, some lady kind of annoyed me because my arms were like full of groceries because it like downpoured at work. So I was like, well, I guess I just go spend money I don't have.
Yeah.
What else am I supposed to do? I'm not going to walk out in the car. And then this lady
Did you
stopped
bump
me.
your head?
When?
It looks like you have a bump on your head there.
It's probably from my several concussions.
Okay. I think it's just the way the light's hitting.
It's the light. It's my hairline, right?
No,
there?
it's yeah.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just the contour of my beautiful skull.
Okay.
You know, you fall out of a shopping cart in a Kroger one time when you're a kid, and your head's never the same.
Nope.
I forgot I was saying.
Something about an old lady in the rain.
Oh, she asked me where the pasta was. And I'm like, bitch, you see my purse? You see this shopping thing on my arm?
No, clearly she couldn't see because if she could see, she would look up and see.
The funny thing is
pasta.
I literally looked up at the sign and pointed just like you just did. Says pasta right there. See? See it? See it? See it?
Where's the pasta? Try the seafood department, you dumb bitch.
There's only so many places you can go. And then like the other day, like I'm filling the beer, which is on the opposite side of the store from like the grocery section. The beer's over like, you know, in the back by the bathrooms where it should be so that people can come in and steal it and take it to the bathrooms with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know how it goes. And this guy just like walks out of the bathroom, doesn't look at anything else, and goes, apple cider vinegar. I'm like, well, it's certainly not going to be back by the bathrooms. You're not trying very hard, sir. He thought it was funny, luckily.
Who just, no context. Apple cider vinegar.
Oh my God, they do it all the time.
What did you just call me?
No respect, I tell you. No respect.
I swear, I have to blame it on the lead poisoning. That's the only thing that gets me through my day.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think you can like go outside and act like that?
Because COVID also had a hand in it. COVID made people really horrible, and it made them forget how to talk to people and like how to behave in a public space. It really did. My coworkers were like, we were all talking about it just like 3 days ago, and it was just like, you know what? Yeah, like maybe there's a reason that like I never had to like deal with this level of like disrespect and shit fuckery when we were at Winn-Dixie.
I think you just forgot.
It's not like I left retail and came back and think, you know, like I was always in retail, but like it was not this bad at Winn-Dixie. I'm fucking telling you, like COVID made things worse.
I don't know.
Because people got cooped up in their house, and then when they finally left, they were just like, fuck everybody.
All COVID did for me was make me realize how much I don't want to go back to work. And I think, wow, another pandemic. It would be nice. I had 2 weeks off and 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off and 2 weeks on. And it was so nice. So you're staring daggers at me right now.
Well, as someone who didn't get to, leave retail when the pandemic hit, I had to work overtime every single week for the first year of the pandemic because we were essential workers and we were so important. And now people basically spit on us.
Well, you made money.
Who? Me?
Overtime.
Yeah, and then I got taxed extra. I barely made any more than normal.
Okay, well, you should have gone in and changed your tax thing.
No, because then I would just forget to change it back.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if we can do that like we used to do at Winn-Dixie. I don't know if we can do it now. At like where I work now.
You can lie.
I don't know, man. But what did the pandemic do for us? Made us want to travel more.
No.
I'm talking about Matt and I.
Oh.
Obviously not you.
Nope. The Pandemi Lovato.
Are you ready for my story?
Are
On that note, we're moving on.
Are you going to go first? Okay.
Oh, sure. I mean, do you want to go first? Can you not do that in my presence? Are you not wearing a bra?
No.
Wow, me either.
It's a fucking Thursday, Rell.
Well, your titties are 3 times the size as mine, so
Are
it's
you
a lot
sure?
more noticeable when you flop them on the table.
Are you? I had to get the fabric underneath.
Yeah, actually my tits have shrunk.
Ugh.
I know.
Breastfeed.
And then they'll never shrink back down again. I'll pass, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sure Matt would love that. Never have to buy coffee creamer again.
And
from what I hear from some people, it's very sweet.
It's not very sweet, but it is sweet.
You're disgusting.
You know what like letdown is?
Yes. Why?
Because you could have letdown like the weirdest times.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm sure Matt would like it.
I'm sure he would love my shirt getting soaking wet whenever we go out. Or whenever a strange baby cries.
Whenever
Or whenever my dog looks at me funny.
No, whenever you're fooking him and then you're spraying.
Oh my God. Does that happen every time? Did you guys incorporate that into your sex lives?
No.
It's like, hit me!
It's just,
Hit me!
no, it's just another messy factor you have to deal with.
Maybe that's why they invented tassels. They're like little corks for your boobs. Slap it on, contain the milk.
They do have those things now. They're called hakas. They kind of like just sit there and like collect all the milk.
What do you do with it after? You like pour it into a cup?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's sanitary?
Yeah.
What if you're sweating it?
What if you sweat when you're pumping or feeding your baby?
Fair. That's fair. All right, who wants to go first?
You're going first.
How's your stomach?
About the same as always.
Okay. I have a doozy today.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, do I even have it on my phone? Sorry. I wasn't prepared. I thought I was more prepared.
I didn't proofread my story.
What does that mean? Typos or like, is it unfinished?
No, I just didn't like change the unhingedness, you know?
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Or you're like neurotic.
I'm
know.
extremely neurotic. I will sit there, like, it'll literally take me like an hour to write one paragraph because I'm constantly changing like every word. Like, I don't like the way that sounds. Let me just reconfigure. Oh,
Meanwhile, I write my story in like an hour.
I hate you.
I just go.
This story took me over the course of 2 days. I would say it probably took me 10 hours.
Something's wrong in your
like
brain.
9 to 10 hours because I just like, I want to get all the facts right. And I'm
Okay.
also very scared of plagiarism.
I am not.
Well, don't say that.
What?
We're going to get sued.
We cite all of our sources.
Yeah, but you can't read verbatim from them.
Why not? Sometimes you can. You can literally say, quote.
Are you going to quote your whole story?
No, you could say a quote from blah, blah article, or I read on so-and-so, or just quote blah, blah.
But like, that's why I get so stressed about writing stories. I don't know how to make it easier for myself. I have to do everything the hard way.
You do.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm ready.
Well, it's a good one. It's 6 pages.
Very detailed story.
It's going to be very long.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I can read it fast.
Yeah.
Almost got a toe cramp.
Oh.
Sorry.
Thought there was a spider on you.
I felt my toe start to cramp and I needed to correct it before it got locked into place. And then I really had a meltdown. That was just the tip of the iceberg. If I had an actual toe cramp, I'd be like seizing. I don't know what to do. One time it happened in the pool and I thought I was going to drown.
Wow. Could you imagine if you died and we
Always
had to write that in your obituary?
Magnesium. Okay, so my story today is going to be a case that I think I briefly touched on in my Wendigo folklore episode.
Okay.
But I can't remember if I actually brought it up in the episode. But anyways, if you haven't listened to that episode, it is 13. And also, what are you doing here? This is episode 51. Why are you jumping around like that? You're unhinged, not me.
Wow, you went back and found the episode.
I did.
You know,
13?
13 is the one that I didn't put the episode number in.
I know. What was the name of that episode? I should have put the name. Oh, well. It's in between 12 and 14. Use your brain.
I was going to say it's in between 12 and 11.
Oh, God. You're unhinged. But to jog everyone's memory, in case for whatever reason you didn't listen to that episode, a Wendigo is a monster / cryptid / general boogeyman that's associated with cannibalism, starvation, harsh winters, yada yada, all that good shit. So that will give you a clue about where we're going in, into today. I'm going to tell you about the murder of Tim McLean.
Okay. I like this. Murder and
perhaps
what's it called?
A cannibalism.
No, like the wild creatures.
Wendigo.
But no, like more broad. Like what are they?
Boogeyman.
Never.
Cryptids.
Cryptid. Thank you.
Well, this isn't a cryptid story, but it does kind of, sort of link up to the Wendigo story.
Okay.
So Tim was born October 3rd, 1985, and he was raised in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and would continue to live there into adulthood. He was known by everyone to be super friendly, easy to get along with, accepting of everyone, and everyone who knew him said that he was just the type of person who could make friends with strangers right away. He was very much so loved by his friends and family, and his personality made him perfect for what he did for a living. He was a carnival barker, which, do you know what that is?
No.
Oh, I
was gonna ask you to
what is it?
To repeat. Carnival barker.
Carnival barker.
Like, bark, bark.
Yep. So I Googled it, and Wikipedia says it's a person who attempts to attract patrons to entertainment events, announcing attractions of the show and emphasizing variety, novelty, beauty, or some other enticing feature of the show. Although Wikipedia also said that professional barkers don't like to be called barkers. They prefer to be called talkers.
I still don't even understand.
They're the people outside that go, come on in, come see the show.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're the people that stand outside like shouting for you to come in.
Okay.
I pictured like the guys at like the game tents like, come on, take your hand and shoot this goldfish. What do they do? With the goldfish?
Shoot a goldfish.
Do you shoot the fish? Anyways, don't shoot the fish. So, anyways, yeah, they prefer to be called talkers. So I'm covering my bases in case there's any barkers out there listening.
This guy was only 5 years older than me, 4.
He was 22 when he succumbed.
Okay.
So yeah. Did you say he's only 5 years older than you?
Mm-hmm.
At the time, you mean?
No, like he was born 5 years before me.
Oh, okay. I was like so confused.
I just have to like put it in perspective because
he was very young.
Anytime like I hear a case, I just picture it in like the 40s.
Oh,
but like no,
that's true. Yeah, this was recent. This happened in the 2000s.
Yeah.
You've probably heard of it. So, he loved being a carnival barker or a talker, because it gave him the opportunity to meet so many new people and live life and experience things that he, wouldn't have done if he had a stagnant office job.
Pause. Tangent. So sorry.
2 paragraphs in.
Remember, I told you that I figured out my exciting job, a fun job, the ghost tour.
Oh yeah,
person, a ghost
tour guide.
Tour guide. Thank you. Yes, that would be the funnest job.
It would be. Again, I will say what I said before. Unless you have a rowdy group like the bachelorette party that I dealt with, that were all a bunch of woo girls.
I would just enjoy fucking with them.
But then it like ruins everybody else's fun. You have to calm them down because everybody else wants to be in a spooky mood and they're being rowdy.
When I die, I'm gonna haunt a place that does ghost tours
just so that you could be the main attraction.
They're gonna be like, this ghost, that's Tamara. We don't know where she came from.
We don't talk to her.
She has nothing to do with this house. She's just here.
She's too excited. Don't engage her. It's like, I'm here. Look at me. Like,
boo.
I do have to tell you about this one tour guide we had. It was like one of the hop on, hop off trolleys. So he wasn't like a ghost tour, but like they do the narration like the whole tour. And he was like this little old man from like the UK or whatever, just so adorable. And like he started it off with, I am from the south too, maybe not your south, but I am from South England. He did that. And then like people, like these bitches, these old ladies that were on like some kind of girls trip, they had all matching shirts. It was like so cringe, but they would not shut the fuck up, and they were just like, ah, ha, ha, like loud laughing, the whole throw your hands up in the air. And he just looked in the rearview and he was, excuse me, madame, excuse me, I'm trying to talk, thank you.
What a king.
That would be you. It was really great. That was a fun tangent.
Yeah, as a ghost, you're not gonna get fired. I can be mean.
That's true. You could be mean, but then nobody would want to come. Except Zach Bagans. Ugh. He'd be like, twist my nipple. Yeah. That's how I picture he is, like, in the rooms when the cameras are off.
I told the ghost to twist my nipple. That's how he talks.
Twisted something else.
We have to get back.
I know. Okay. So, July 30th, 2008. I was 2 years away from graduating high school.
I graduated in 2007.
Nerd.
Why am I a nerd? Because I graduated high school?
Yeah. Smart. 22-year-old Tim had just finished up working a fair in Edmonton, Alberta, and he wanted to get home to where his pregnant girlfriend awaited his return. He was set to take the Greyhound bus 1170 down the Trans-Canada Highway. I don't know why. I always have to say it like that.
In a transatlantic accent.
Trans-Canada Highway. Which was going from Edmonton to Winnipeg. The trip would have been about 22 hours. A longie. And Tim was exhausted from his day at work, so he boarded the bus around midnight and headed to the back of the bus, where he chose a window seat in the second row from the back.
I think I know what this is. I think I know what your case is.
Oh, you do? I'm sure I've talked about it before. I'm like 90% sure I brought it up in the Winnipeg in the Wendigo episode, but I didn't re-listen to make sure.
Okay.
He popped on some headphones and just chilled, probably dozed off, just a normal commute for him. And around 6 p.m., a man wearing sunglasses and carrying a few pieces of luggage boarded the bus in Erickson, Manitoba. This man was 40-year-old Vince Lee, who I'm going to refer to as Lee from now on, because I don't know why it's weird to refer to the villains of the case by their first name.
Okay.
Tim can be Tim. Vince will not be Vince. Vince will be Lee.
Yeah.
Okay. So a little backstory on Lee. He immigrated from China to Canada in 2001 with a computer science degree. For a little while there, he was working odd jobs at his church to support him and his wife. And while he worked there, he became a Christian and was baptized. His pastor claimed he was just a normal dude. He seemed happy to be working and he was committed to doing a decent job there. And then, kind of out of the blue, he quits the church job and started working as a forklift driver. And while he was there, he had no complaints from any of his coworkers about him. But that didn't last long either, and he ended up quitting that job as well. By 2006, Lee moves to Edmonton and begins working at a Walmart and also a newspaper delivery service. He had like a bunch of jobs at this time, but like these were the ones I saw talked about the most. He also worked at like McDonald's for a time, just like a bunch of little random menial jobs. The manager at the delivery job claimed that Lee was reliable and hardworking and never showed any signs of trouble or like any issues with any coworkers. But in 2008, he ended up getting fired from Walmart for some issues he was having with another employee, which it didn't really go into any further detail about it, but who knows, And then around this time, he asks his boss at his delivery job for some time off while he interviews for another job in Winnipeg. So he is a job hopper, and we do not know why. He just can't hold it down. So July 28th, Lee, he hops onto the Greyhound bus heading for Winnipeg for the job interview. The next day around 6 p.m., he gets off the bus in Erickson with 3 pieces of luggage, and a witness claims they saw him sitting on the same bench all night, eyes wide open and staring straight ahead. And then the morning of the 30th, July 30th, 2008, he's still there at the same bench. He sees a 15-year-old kid going by, and he sells him his brand new laptop for $60.
Okay.
For no reason. That laptop is later confiscated by police, and they end up like paying the kid for it for his, his honesty and coming forward, which I thought was really cute. Yeah. But I don't know what was found on the computer. Then at 6 p.m., he boards the same Greyhound bus that Tim is on. I don't know why that word is so hard for me to say. Greyhound.
You just say bus from now on.
I just keep wanting to say Greybound. Greybound bus. And so yeah, he gets on and then he chooses a seat near the front of the bus. Witnesses said that Lee's behavior at this time was completely unremarkable. Just, again, totally normal dude. Quiet, getting on a normal bus ride, like nothing crazy.
But he had sat at a bus stop for how long?
All night, overnight. Around 8 p.m., the bus stops for its scheduled rest stop. Lee gets off to smoke a cigarette. And when he gets back on the bus, instead of going back to his original seat, he walks back towards where Tim's seated. Witnesses said that the whole time he was walking to the back of the bus, he was just like staring at everyone as he walked by, and it kind of gave them all the heebs. There's an empty seat just across the aisle from where Tim's sitting, and Lee and Tim make eye contact, and, Tim's a friendly dude, so he's like, sure, stranger. Sit next to me, even though there's an empty seat right there, whatever. And for whatever reason, he felt safe enough to put his headphones back on, close his eyes, lean his head against the window, and drift back off to sleep. There was only like 3 hours left of the trip before he was made it home. So within a half an hour of Lee sitting next to Tim, another passenger noted that Lee's behavior was starting to get a little strange. He started to get really fidgety, and he started mumbling to himself in like a low, quiet voice. The passenger thought it was strange, but, people are weird. It's a bus. Like, you don't know what people are going through, whatever. They didn't feel threatened by anything, and it didn't set off any alarm bells, but, hindsight. Yeah. Pretty quickly after this, shit gets real. And with that, I'm going to throw out a trigger warning because it's about to get real gory up in here. So if that's not something you want to hear about, maybe tap out of the rest of this episode. I don't know. But if you like it, hang out. Tamara doesn't have a choice. She has to stay. I did give her the option of leaving the room while I kept going with the story. So
I'm a big girl. I can do it.
Okay. So with no provocation or anything at all, just totally out of nowhere, Lee pulled a Bowie knife out of his bag and began to repeatedly stab Tim in the neck. Tim wakes up in a panic.
What's a Bowie knife?
It's like a hunting knife. I did look it up. It's like a really big hunting knife.
Okay.
Tim wakes up in a panic and tried to fight back, but Lee just doesn't stop. he just keeps plunging the knife in over and over and over. And understandably, the other passengers start to freak the fuck out because they don't know what the fuck's going on. And they run up to the front of the bus to get the driver to pull over and let them out. And while this is happening, Lee had pulled Tim into the aisleway and he just kept stabbing him in the neck and the chest.
Ugh.
One of the passengers believed he saw Tim get stabbed like at least 50 or 60 times by this point. And another witness described Lee as being like a robot while he stabbed him, with like no emotion on his face, and he was just like super calm and just like not saying a word. Just so creepy. The driver finally stopped the bus, and most of the passengers flee to watch all of this unfold at the side of the road. The driver and 2 passengers remain on the bus to try to help Tim, but there's not much they can do, and this angers Lee, who just like starts swishing the knife at them wildly in their direction.
Yeah, you get off that bus.
I know. And like there's just blood everywhere, and he's just like, ah, you know. At this point, they all flee the bus. Tim was most likely dead already by now, and the driver had to think about the safety of the remaining passengers, so I do not blame him one bit.
And himself.
And himself, yeah. So all the 30 plus passengers can do is stand outside the bus and watch, horrified, as Lee continues to mutilate Tim's body.
I'm probably scared that he's going to get off the bus and come after them.
Absolutely. They watch. They watch the whole time as Lee hacks and saws at Tim's neck. And when Lee stands back up, the passengers see in one hand the bloody knife, and in the other, he lifts Tim's severed head. Just to show them all. These poor onlookers begin screaming, some fainting, some vomiting right where they stood. And a trucker passing by around this time noticed the bus pulled over and the people outside of it clearly looking to be in distress, and he stops to assist. Lee looked up from what he was doing, and then he starts making his way towards the front of the bus where the doors are.
I would have already been running.
Where are you going to go? You're in the middle of nowhere. I looked this up on the map. There are not any nearby cities.
Down the fucking road. I don't know.
It looked like the nearest city was a 20-minute drive. I fucking pulled up the map. I pulled up where they were. I was just like, damn.
I remember seeing pictures of this, but I would have just put as much distance between me and that bus as humanly possible the moment I got off of it.
I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to look away. Like, I would have been horrified, but like, jeez, you know? So yeah, he makes his way up to the front door of the bus, but luckily he couldn't make a break for it because he couldn't try to drive the bus away, which is like, first what I was worried about. Like, the keys are in the bus. Like, he's going to fucking just drive away and leave them all stranded there and escape. But the bus driver had activated the emergency immobilizer system. So, you know, at least he couldn't move. But then the people were terrified that he was going to get off the bus and just fucking chase him down. So the truck driver and a few passengers, armed with a crowbar and some hammers that the truck driver provided them, which was so nice. Thank you for the weapons, sir.
No, I'd be like, put me in that truck and get me the fuck out of here.
But there's like 35 people. So like, you can't just like leave them all. I don't know. So yeah, he just like, you know, hands out weapons and it's just like, here you go. Here you go.
One for you and one for you.
And they rush over to barricade Lee inside the bus so he couldn't escape or make a run at them. And they just hoped the doors could hold until the cops could get there. They were en route, but since they were about 18 miles out from the nearest city, all they could do is wait and watch as Lee walks Tim's severed head up and down the aisles of the bus, just raising it, you know, like a fucking lantern. He's just holding it up for everyone to see.
So they had cell phones at this time.
Yeah, 2008.
So
cops were called.
Okay.
Yep. Families, I'm sure, were called. I mean, like, if you were there, because like when they end up getting back to the bus station, people are there waiting, so they knew. But this was a very long ordeal, so I'm sure they heard in other ways. But yeah, apparently this wasn't enough brutality for Lee. He knelt over Tim's body and began carving into his chest. He pulled out his heart, his lungs, his liver, his intestines, and just started stringing them out along the bus aisle. Passengers just watch in utter disbelief as Lee cuts out Tim's eyes and eats them. And then he eats about a third of Tim's heart. before he cuts off Tim's nose and ears and just sat there smelling the severed parts and licking the tips of his fingers. He then pulled out some plastic bags he brought with him and began bagging up some of the severed parts, intent on taking them with him.
Oh, no. Listen, does that show like intent that he planned
That's
it?
what I was thinking.
Because this whole time I'm thinking, dude is having a mental break.
Right.
Like, he's
and
having an episode.
We'll see later. Like, we can definitely like circle back to this part, but like, I don't know. I don't know about that. By 9, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police finally arrived with negotiators to try and end this standoff as peacefully as possible. But Lee carried on what he was doing. He was like, "You can't stop me. I'm on a bus." He would not comply with their negotiations, and he told police, quote, "I have to stay on this bus forever," unquote. And I just picture him saying it with the widest eyes possible. Like,
Yeah.
no eyelids, just, I'm going to
The
be
Simpako
here forever. So not knowing how else to handle the situation without it ending in violence, the RCMP did nothing but stand by for the next few hours and watch as Lee continued to dissect Tim's corpse. Later, some members, because they wanted to take him alive.
Okay, but you could easily like smoke the dude out or like get
I was
something
thinking,
in
like,
the
a
bus.
flashbang or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like disorient him and then you can take him alive.
Or even just like pepper like you
spray,
can
like mace,
like a bomb.
Yeah.
Get it in the bus somehow.
I don't know. Maybe they didn't have that in Canada.
All right.
I don't. Maybe they have much stricter rules on like stuff like that in Canada than we do have. But yeah, they some later on, like after all this happened, some members of a SWAT team that were not present on scene. So it's like people that are just like, "Oh, I would have done this differently." They would go on to question whether Lee should have just been fatally shot to put an end to the savagery that continued on the bus. But again, you know, hindsight, and also you weren't there. So
yeah.
At 1:30 a.m., Lee is still on the bus.
Oh, and now it's dark. That is not safe.
No. He tries to make an escape by breaking out one of the windows of the bus and running. He was quickly tased twice and arrested shortly after. Police gave Lee the usual pat down, and in Lee's pocket they found Tim's ears, nose, and tongue. Yet he left the Ziploc baggie of the other various parts on the bus for the crime scene techs to find. Lee was then transferred to the local hospital to treat the wounds on his hands, most likely from the bloody knife slicing him during the attack.
Mm-hmm.
And while he was on his way there, police continued to process the scene and interview the passengers and witnesses. By 10:30 a.m., good Lord, these people had such a long ordeal. Police had released the witnesses, and the Greyhound bus representatives took the passengers to a local store to basically buy them all new clothes because all their luggage, everything they brought with them onto the bus, was all now evidence.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, that was really nice of them. Because, like, I don't know. I wouldn't have expected them to do that. It wasn't their fault that this happened, you know?
Yeah.
But it was nice. And by 3:30 p.m., they would finally make it back to Winnipeg, where all of their families were there worried and waiting. Tim's mother, Carol, had been listening to the radio the night before and had heard the news about what was going down on the Greyhound bus, and she just prayed that Tim was okay and that he wasn't involved in any way. But she was absolutely devastated when she received a phone call from her ex-husband where he told her that Tim wasn't going to be one of the passengers returning to the station.
Oh, God.
I know. All they could hope for now was to get some sort of answers from Lee, like why the fuck he did this, and like, are they going to get any justice, you know? After a medical review of Lee, psychiatrists claimed that he was an undiagnosed schizophrenic and wasn't taking any medications for his condition. When his trial began on March 3rd, 2009, which was actually kind of quick, because I feel like here in the States, it takes several years for anyone to fucking see trial for anything.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. So yeah, when his trial began, Lee pled not criminally responsible due to mental illness, and basically everyone involved in the court proceedings agreed that he was not of sound mind when he committed the murders. Murderer.
Yeah.
Singular. Sorry. The trial itself was a closed trial, and Tim's family and friends didn't even get a say in anything relating to the trial, and neither did any of the passengers or law enforcement that still have to deal with the trauma of what they saw that day on the bus. There were no witnesses called on, and the judge had relied only on testimony from forensic psychiatrists. And because of this, the judge deemed that Lee was not criminally responsible for his actions, and Lee was sent to Selkirk Mental Health Center, where he was studied and monitored by staff. Experts at the treatment center interviewed Lee frequently and claimed that Lee was slowly starting to realize what he'd done, but that he couldn't accept that he'd cannibalized a man. Like, he was just like, no, I know I killed him, but I didn't eat him.
Oh, God.
As far as why he thinks he committed the murder, Lee told interviewers, quote, "God made me do it. I was the evil son of an evil God. God chose me as the killer. God chose Tim as the victim. God controls all things, and God made me do it." Unsettling, right? What's more unsettling is that Lee, with the help of staff at the health center, changed his name to Will Baker and was given little freedoms here and there. And after a while, they decided that Lee was capable of integrating back into society, and he was released in 2017 with no requirements for check-ins or anything, and no restrictions. Since
No.
Yes. Since Tim's murder, there have been several lawsuits filed, either against Greyhound or against Lee himself, but I'm not sure if any of these actually got paid out. Because, I mean, technically this isn't Greyhound's fault. And I highly doubt Lee has $3 million lying around to pay for the PTSD treatment that all those people needed to get. Tim's parents are understandably devastated by how everything turned out. But to honor Tim's memory, they erected a white cross with Tim's name on it along the road where the incident took place. Below his name reads, quote, "I think of you always, son. Love, Dad." Tim's son was born 5 months after his death. Sorry, I just got so sad. All of a sudden.
It looked like you were about to burp. So
holding the tears. And Tim's mom says her grandson inherited Tim's eyes and sense of humor. She says he motivates her to wake up every day and be the best grandma she can be.
oh.
So now we can circle back to that Ziploc bag thing. How can you be not criminally held responsible for this, but you brought Ziploc bags with you to take parts with you?
I was thinking that, but also if he's
Maybe he was just already walking around with Ziploc bags,
or when he got the Ziploc bags was already in psychosis.
Maybe. But then, like, in some of the other interviews with like his psychiatrist and stuff, they would say, like, the voices were telling me that Tim was going to kill me, so I had to kill him first. What the fuck does that have to do with Ziploc bags? Did the voices tell you to put his body parts in a Ziploc bag? Like,
it doesn't have to make sense. I mean, he also had a knife with him, but the fact that
I'm sure half the people on that bus had a knife with them, but, like, you're not going to fucking use it.
Yeah. I definitely believe that it was psychosis, but that doesn't make him being free okay.
No, he definitely should have been held at least in the mental health center.
Yeah.
Like,
Forever.
I mean, for what you did, like, it's not like you just, like, had a slip and accidentally stabbed somebody one time. You stabbed him like 100 times, then you cut off his head and you ate his eyeballs.
Yeah.
You ate his eyeballs.
Yeah.
And then you, like, taunted the passengers with it, you know? That's the, I don't know. It's real weird. So, Will Baker, why don't you stay in Canada?
Yeah, everyone watch out for Will Bakers.
I think he lives in Manitoba now.
That's disturbing.
Yeah.
I'm glad though that like medically we're able to understand the brain enough to know that like what was happening.
But
you
like
know?
it also makes me wonder. I mean, like, you know how like back in the day everything everything was diagnosed as schizophrenia. Like it was just like a blanket statement for any kind of like mental unwellness. And like I'm just like, was that this? Were they just like, oh yes, definitely schizophrenia. See how crazy he is? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he had something else going on. I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard of any other cannibalistic things going on in Winnipeg,
the whole like grandiose like God was talking to me and I'm
that
the
does
evil
sound...
son. That sounds like psychosis.
Yeah.
And like that steadfast, firm belief that like you're right.
Yeah.
And like in this situation, that it definitely does sound like that. But I mean,
yeah. I wish I could find more stuff from like his wife. Like I wonder if she noticed anything off leading up to it. But then like I did see some stuff where it was like before he got the job at Walmart, he like moved abruptly and like left her in the other city that they lived in. And then she ended up moving there to be with him. But I'm like, when they say he moved abruptly, did he like move and not tell her? And then I read somewhere that like the marriage dissipated, and I'm just like, did that happen before or after the cannibalism? Like, I don't know. But because like I would be interested to see what she has to say about it. I mean, if she noticed anything. So that's my story. I went hot and heavy with it.
yes, that was a good one. I knew it as soon as you said bus. I was like, yeah.
And like, if I didn't bring it up in the Wendigo episode, I thought I did talk about it, but like if I didn't, then there's a correlation because people thought that Lee was potentially possessed by a Wendigo, and that's why he committed the cannibalism. So there's how that connects, everyone, in case that wasn't clear.
No, I get it.
I know you get it,
but
just
it
in
is
case
more,
nobody else
like,
did.
You know, are you a yoga teacher? Because that's a stretch. You know?
All right.
To
do things.
We're gonna
follow us or something.
Oh, yeah.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Fearful Friends Podcast. Send whatever you got. Send me your stories. Don't send me your dick pics to
fearfulfriendspodcast@gmail.com.
She's sitting in the big seat now. She has to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll say what Tamara says. Bye, friends.
Bye.